So I'm here today with Tony. We've come down to do a brew day and have a bit of a chat about Imperial Stout. Tony and I were lucky enough last year to get second and first place in the QABC category for Strong Stouts. I brewed mine last week and you're doing yours today, so we just thought it'd be a good opportunity to come and have a chat and see what we think about them. So,
thanks, Andy.
How you doing, Tony?
Great.
Yeah.
Always love a brew day.
So we're mashing at the moment, so perhaps we'll have a little chat first of all about the recipe, I suppose. I mean, we're not necessarily going to contrast them in any great detail, but I mean, just get a general feel for how you put yours together. Is it something you had brewed before?
Yeah, so this recipe or variations of this recipe I've brewed since about 2016, 2015, with varying degrees of success.
Yeah.
Maybe even earlier, actually.
Okay.
Probably 2015. Yeah, you mentioned QABC. I had to go back and look at my records.
Sure.
4 times I've placed with
fantastic.
Imperial Stout. Yeah.
Really, wow.
But the last 2 years and last year when you and I went 1-2 was actually the first time I got first.
Fantastic.
It was always a second. It was always the bridesmaid.
Wow. There's nowhere to go up now, though.
No, well, I need to repeat that at the Nationals.
I suppose, or best of show or something. Yeah. No, well, congratulations on that. That's an excellent performance. So is it a style you would normally sort of drink yourself at home? Like, would you buy commercial examples? Yeah.
I have and I do. I really like Hargraves Hill's version. It's probably the best in the country, I reckon.
Yeah.
Nail used to get a lot of press for their clout, but I think it's easily as good as that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I think they make it every year still.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it probably for a year. But have drunk it a lot, have made it a lot. Obviously, it's a style you can't drink a lot of at one time.
Sure.
So
of course, yeah.
Make it once a year maybe, or once every second year. So I've got plenty of stock for comps as well.
Yeah. Because it's a style that ages quite nicely as well, right?
Absolutely.
It keeps, there's no, if anything, improves.
Yes.
Certainly for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, that one that placed last year and the year before was actually the same batch. I realised when I was looking back at things.
Yeah,
and it just smooths out even more in that second year.
Yeah.
I don't think it really has trouble with oxidation really. If anything, like any aged beer, that just contributes a little bit.
No, I agree. I actually think straight off the bat, in the first month or so, it's not it's anywhere near its best. It really does take a little while for it to sort of the flavours to smooth out and settle down, and then obviously probably that oxidation starts to come in, and it adds some of those sort of sherry, perhaps a bit of a vanilla-y, leathery kind of character, and brings some of the other stuff out.
I found mine has split judges sometimes because it does taste like an aged beer to some degree, and so some people love that really punch in your face, bitter, roasty, fresh Imperial Stout, and others prefer something that's had a bit of age and smoothed out a whole lot, and mine usually represents the second of those.
Have you ever put any in a barrel? Just curious. I've thought about it.
So with a few club friends, we have a barrel. We have put Imperial Stout in that barrel once, and it was great.
Yeah.
It's probably 5 years old now, but I've still got a few bottles of that, little ones. We might try one later if I can get it cold.
Yeah.
Again, and that accelerates some of those sort of alcohol characters and oxidation characters that you might otherwise think were welcome in a beer, but are in a style like
this. You don't mind it in that,
yeah.
So how did you sort of, have you sort of stuck with the same recipe, or have you found yourself tweaking it?
Little tweaks based on availability of different models, mostly. But it's stayed pretty consistent over time. And the theory with that, I think it actually started off as kind of a copy of Gordon Strong's Catherine the Great, which is in his book. The second book he did anyway. That's got a whole lot of recipes in it, and it's a great one. Yeah. I'll go and look it up and let you know. But it started off, I think, as more of a copy of that, or of Jamil's or John's one in
classic styles.
Yeah. But it's all about, I think, layering base malts and then layering crystalline dark malts. So I joked earlier that I was going to say something about keeping recipes simple, and then I looked at that recipe and went, oh my god, there's a lot of different malts in there.
Yeah.
But you do want a certain degree of complexity. That's what the style is
Makes
about.
It interesting. to drink. Yeah.
And if it's too one-dimensional, you will get pinged in a comp.
Yeah.
If it's just pure roast and lacks
coffee
and lacks that crystal backbone, or even like that. People talk about base malt complexity, and it can be a difficult thing to describe because base malts often don't have a lot of character, right?
Yeah.
But that bready with bread crust, bready with a little bit of dough, toast, those kinds of things, they're a really good backbone, and they need to be present, as well as some layers of crystal, dark crystal, light crystal. In mine, I've got, I think, 3 different types of crystal malt. Actually.
Yeah, sure.
But only one is a conventional crystal malt. The other 2 are special bean biscuit.
Yeah, okay.
And they're adding some flavour
notes
that aren't just sort of crystal sweetness as well.
Yep. Now I'm looking at mine. I've got 3 or 4 myself. Yeah, a couple of sort of Karam Unix, which are obviously similar to German versions of the same thing, and wheat. And so have you? I've got oats in mine as well. I really like the oat character that you get in stouts. We've had some really nice lower alcohol oatmeal stouts, in the club, and I really like the character that comes from those as well. So I've got flaked oats and malted oats both in there, not in massive quantities, but just again, like you say, just to give that like something else there, like a.
Well, they're adding a bit of texture too, right?
Yeah, of course, the mouthfeel as well. But I always think about it like a sandwich. If you put a bit of salt and pepper in there, it might not, you might not be able to pick it in the final result, but it's adding something, right? And the end result is better for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely used oats in the past in that recipe, but I think at the moment it's flaked barley for.
Okay.
Not for that flavour character, but for some of that body mouthfeel. It's maybe counterintuitive in a beer that big that you want to do anything for body and mouthfeel, but again, it still provides something.
Yeah, that's right. No, again, it's avoiding that one dimension. Like it's just adding something else to it and complexity.
I would say with a beer that you want it to be complex, though, don't add stuff just for the hell of it. Everything that you're adding, you should know why you're adding this.
Yeah.
What impact do I want this to have on the final beer?
Yeah. More is not necessarily more. No. Have you ever thought about lactose in some of the stronger beers? Have stronger stouts have lactose in?
I've used lactose and glycerol in beers, but not for this style. More for crazy stuff like smoothie sours and things like that. Milkshake IPAs. Yeah, I did make a milkshake IPA once that came out quite nicely.
Do you have fruit in?
Lime.
Yeah, right. Yeah. That would be nice. Yeah.
So this is a total tangent.
Yeah.
But that was a competition with the theme of childhood memories.
You're right, okay.
And I used to go for milkshakes with my granddad, and he always had a lime milkshake.
Right.
At the time, I thought it was the most horrid idea for a milkshake. Yeah. But I reproduced that as a milkshake IPA.
That's good. Yeah.
Got on tap at scratch, actually.
Yeah, right. Okay. So coming back to the stouts then, I guess I use the classic English yeast in mine, Windsor.
Yeah, okay.
What are you thinking with your yeast?
Something cleaner and with a bit more grunt normally.
Right.
So either Nottingham or USA 5.
Okay, yeah.
I'm always afraid of under-attenuation in a beer this big.
Yeah. I guess, Nottingham's from the same kind of area, right? But USA 5 a bit cleaner and a bit more.
Sometimes I do use a combination of Nottingham and Windsor.
Sure.
So back in the day, Ross, the craft brewer, used to sell an English yeast, which was a combination of those two.
Okay.
And once I realised that, I did start just mixing those two myself.
That's the thing. I mean, you're obviously pitching. Typically a single packet. You're probably putting more than one in, right? So you can get a bit of a mix going. Yeah.
Yeah. For a beer this big, if I'm using dry yeast packets, it would be a 3 or a 4.
Yeah. I think I put 3 in mine. Yeah. Okay. And hops wise, where do you think roughly? Do you know where you're landing roughly for IBU?
For IBUs, I can look it up. But in terms of character, there's a fair bit of bitterness in order to balance the alcohol and the sweetness, right?
Yep.
So
mine's at 60.
Yeah, mine's at 75.
It's not shy. Yep.
Yeah. So I normally use Magnum just to provide a bittering charge up front, and then EKG for a bit of flavour.
Yep.
At the end.
So most of the IBUs coming from the bittering early on, or
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I got a couple of layers of EKG towards the end, but 65 odd IBUs is coming from the first charge.
Sure. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. Mine's also mostly up front. Yeah. But Goldings and Fuggles as well. I mean, You can probably tell from the accent, viewers. I'm, from the UK, and you grow up drinking these beers. You grow up liking those hops, So yeah,
you want to reproduce that same character.
That's right, exactly. But same reason, perhaps I'm Maris Otter all the way with the base malt, But
I was.
Yep.
Yeah. I was, and now I'm Voyager Valoria.
Oh, okay.
That is my standard Maris replacement now.
Yeah, sure.
Try to buy mostly Aussie malts.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I'll cut in. What Valoria, how close do you think you get to Maris Otter with Valoria? Would you liken it, or you think it's quite different, or what's your thoughts on it?
I think it's similar. It's not, obviously, if you're a purist, it's not exactly the same. But I think it's giving a lot of similar character to the Maris. Enough so that I just use that in all my English sort of style beers now.
It's cheaper, I imagine.
Yeah.
Should be.
Yeah, it should be. That's what I mean.
It's got to come.
It should be. I'm trying to remember what they
actually is.
Voyager is not a cheap malt generally.
No.
But I think it's still with all the shipping and whatnot these days, it's still cheaper than getting Maris when you can get it. I think I started to do it because I couldn't get Maris.
Okay. Right. Okay.
But, and then I went. This is actually really good.
It works really well. Yeah. Oh, good. Okay. Any other? I mean, is there anything else you want to add on the stouts? I feel like we've covered the recipe quite well. In terms of your process, is there anything different? Is there a 90-minute boil or anything like that, or a longer mash, or a different temperature? Or?
There's probably a couple of things there. So, bigger beer, more malt. Depending on your system, you might want to go a longer mash, maybe even slightly lower temp than you normally would, just to make sure you've got plenty of fermentables in there. You're not going to get stuck at too high a final grav.
Yeah. No, I guess that's a key point, right? Like you say, you don't want to end up. You're going to start at a higher gravity. I forget what mine was. I think 1090 or something like that.
Yeah.
Mine comes in around about 8.5-9%. It's not a huge stout. But as you say, you want it to finish low enough that it's drinkable.
It's drinkable. Yeah. Which seems funny for a beer that big, but you still don't want it. You don't want it to be cloyingly sweet. I think that's always the thing that you read
with all those
in the guides,
additional malts, it could be.
Yeah, and a lot of sugars. Yeah. A lot of crystal malts, layers of crystal malts. So ensuring fermentability is key. Depending on how you go with collection of wort and what strength and how much of it you've got, you just might need to do a long boil as well. So we'll see. I said earlier I'm eyeballing mine a little bit. I didn't do all the calcs that I have started to do after doing the Eco course.
Sure.
But part of that is because I've made this beer a lot.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's okay. It's done well. So I'll just stick to that.
Don't need to be too stressed about it.
Yeah. In the future, I'll probably pull that recipe apart and pull the process apart a bit more on the volumes and everything else, and try to lock in on some of those things.
Yeah.
But,
I think as well that slightly longer boil. That not that you're necessarily looking for a lot of kind of caramel character necessarily, but if you're going to get a bit of what do you call it, the Maillard, type, it doesn't hurt in this beer, and if you're like you say, it's important to end up at the right gravity for the start of the fermentation. So I usually end up doing a slightly longer boil on it as well. Which I like.
Right, but in terms of Imperial Stout water chemistry,
are we running still?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's just getting at all the interesting bits.
Yeah, come on.
In terms of Imperial Stout water chemistry, a little bit going on there. When I first started making dark beers, when I first started entering beers and comps, I found that my dark beers always did better than my pale beers.
Okay.
And it was because I did nothing with my water chemistry.
Right. Okay.
And
so the water you were using was just happened to be quite good for those type of beers.
Yeah, and you're using a fair bit of dark malts, so pH naturally is kind of around where you want it anyway, without too much adjustment. So that was interesting to discover later, I guess, that was why, once I understood a little bit more about water chem. I think with a big beer like this, though, you want to... There's two things, I guess. One is, what do you want the mouthfeel to be like? And there's probably a difference between if you're going for a really English-style Imperial Stout and American-style Imperial Stout. So if it's American and you want a little bit more hop character, and obviously this is more for younger beers, but you might go heavier on the sulfates. And if you want a more English-style one, you might go heavier on chlorides. But you always want to make sure you've got plenty of calcium in there for your yeast health, obviously. So 50 plus parts per million, probably more, because your yeast is doing a big job. But there are a couple of things. But I don't really do lactic additions, or you don't need to. Work well with my tap water anyway. If you're using RO, you will need to figure out where do you want this beer to land, chem-wise, and add the right things.
So I do use RO. But it even then for me it didn't end up being like all of the additions at the scale I'm brewing. They're relatively small, sort of in the 3 or 4 grams. Like nothing's really high in any direction. It's a pretty balanced water profile. But as you say, a decent amount of calcium. I think I did err on the side of it's almost 1-to-1 sulfate to chloride. So I mean it's
I think it's not
pretty pretty neutral.
If you're not sure, I think it's a really good place to start. 1-to-1.
Nice.
Our water here on the south side is pretty high in a lot of stuff. Sulfates and chlorides and everything else. So we've got to be really mindful of that. It has been an issue for me in the recent past with brewing IPAs because I'm still throwing sulfates in at the rate that I thought I should.
And there's already a lot in there.
And then I got a new water report and went, holy crap, that's why they all are astringent as hell. But so I'm trying to get over that and get myself around to
so you find it varies a bit, you think?
Yeah, well, through the course of the year, or over multiple years, it will vary quite a bit. We had a indication the other day that pH was going to go up quite a bit, because of treatment that they were doing. So that was something to be aware of, and again another reason to do those pH measurements. If you can, that's everyone doesn't have to start doing pH from the get-go. No.
I think the way we talk about it is as though it's sort of in that kind of once you've got your good recipe and you've got your good fermentation conditions and you've got your sanitation down and you're into the sort of like last 10% or last 5%, and then you might start looking at your water.
For sure.
If you're getting a character you don't like maybe you're getting a lot of chlorophenols or something like that in your beers, that might be something to look at. But if the water's pretty neutral, it's probably going to be fine up to that point. And then when you start looking at that, you might want to start.
If you are using tap water, I would definitely recommend metabisulfate in your water from the start. Get rid of those chlorines and chloramines. That can certainly give that off flavour.
Take it away.
So this is your first prize winning stout from 2025 then?
This is the same batch as that.
It's
last bottle.
Did you say this was 2 years old? Or 18 months old sort of thing?
No, it went through 2 QABCs.
Right,
So it would have been early 2024 brewed.
Okay, so 2 years, Okay, excellent. All right, well, cheers. Thanks for opening one for us.
Pleasure. Last one.
Thanks for opening the last one for us.
Pleasure.
It's got that really rich. It's got a very rich.
It's that leathery things as well.
Rich, dark fruit aroma. And obviously all the we were talking about all the different caramel notes kind of add together, and it sort of really.
It's still got quite a good bitterness.
I
think that sort of counteracts the sweetness as well. This would be 9.5-10%.
Syrupy is part of what I think.
Certainly all those sort of caramel notes are coming through, as you say, dark fruit,
full body.
Absolutely. Very. Not obviously low carbonation, even though it looks it's got a nice head on it, but obviously that doesn't come across in the mouth. It's all very nicely blended together though. As you say that, although it has got a bit of that leathery age on it, it's not sort of a stringent. Sometimes you get that stringency from that. It doesn't have that. It's kind of holding up really well actually.
Sweet, full-bodied, but still somehow manages to finish dry-ish.
That's right. You're not sort of wary of the next mouthful because it's going to be a hard work mouthful. Like you're ready for the next one because it's quite easy to drink despite the alcohol. I think that's really nice.
One of the things I like about it too is it's almost like every time you go back for a taste, you pick up something a little bit different. So
yeah,
that last mouthful, I was like, oh, dark chocolate, cherry. Whereas the first mouthfuls was dark fruit,
coffee a bit more,
dried fruit, plums, prunes, that kind of thing, coffee. But yeah.
Yeah. No, it's really. I mean, obviously, it's silly to say anything else. Obviously, with it being a prize-winning beer, you know, but it certainly.
You can see why.
Yeah, and as you said, I think that interest and that kind of it does come from the mixture of malts, like you say, but not loading it up so that it's kind of confused. Like, what am I tasting here?
Yeah.
But just enough so that, like you say, each mouthful is interesting.
Yes.
And it's kind of
Something else there.
yeah, absolutely. No, very good.
It doesn't, and this recipe doesn't do that. It never like screams roast.
No.
Although there's clearly like dark malt character and some roasty character there, but it's not a punch in your face roast bomb.
And as you said, no lactose in it. It does almost have that character to it. Like the mouthfeel is almost that sort of silky. I mean,
that's got
not fluffy,
texture.
but luxurious. Yeah,
It doesn't feel like lactose, but it is
Smooth.
Yeah.
smooth.
Like
Yeah.
a really smooth kind
Yeah.
of mouthfeel. But yeah.
And perhaps
is
and
it
the age
luscious
is
or luxurious.
luscious.
The guidelines say
I think luscious.
say something like that. Yeah, It does have that,
luxuriant,
yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
But no, it's lovely, and it's held up. It's held up really well over those, like you say, 2 years in the bottle. So yeah.
I suspect if I had more of it, it probably would have been alright for another year.
Yeah.
It's not really showing
No, nothing.
characters, but
No, you wouldn't pick it at all for being aged. No. Excellent.
Cheers,
Yeah,
mate.
Good job. Cheers,
Thank you.
mate.